Hey, good evening, Facebook. Welcome all posties, boys and girls, beautiful people, magnificent and amazing parents throughout the world. Welcome to Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide, and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Bryan+Post. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk about dealing with eye-rolling, back talk, and sassy mouth, because those are all things that you and I, as children growing up, we knew not to do. And how many times did you hear, "I will knock your eyeballs into the back of your head," or "You want me to smack you in the mouth," or "Don't you talk back to me"? I know you heard it over and over and over again, and I know your child does it right now and drives you freaking crazy. You want to strangle them sometime, but you don't. And so we're going to talk about that this evening. I hope everyone has had a fantastic Sunday. So what you have to understand about talking back, about sassy mouth, about eye rolling, all those little things that kids are commonly do as they start to get older. Hey, Kenton. And Kenton from Montana joining us. Nice for you to join us. And hey there, mother, watching me. And hello, everyone else. Well, you have to understand about attitudes like eye rolling, because that is an attitude. What you have to understand about back talk, which is an expression of feelings. What you have to understand about sassy mouth, which is an expression of feelings, is that those are ways in which we express our emotions. They are ways in which we transition. And so this came about, the topic tonight came about from a comment from a parent in Scotland who has had a real breakthrough with her foster son, where he was really insulting the dad and, really feeling threatened by the dad. And so he's kind of broke through to that. But the mom says allowing him to express his feelings, they're wondering if, because he's using some harsh words and saying some mean things, mom says, I know he probably doesn't mean it, but the statement is, we're wondering if allowing him to express his feelings is going to get out of control. That's a very, very interesting perspective. So that's kind of how I came to the topic this evening. But as I was saying, the eye rolling and the back talking and the sassy mouth, those are all pathways of emotional expression. And we only have three. We have attitudes, feelings, and behaviors. And if you haven't seen my presentation on the three pathways of emotional expression, please go and watch it tonight, especially if this is a topic that is speaking to you, because I want you to have some compounded learning, because I give you the diagram on it and I break it down for you very succinctly, very clearly, so you can understand it. When your child is talking back, when they're rolling their eyes at you, when they've got a sassy mouth, the biggest challenge is your own emotional reactivity. And why do you react to a child who rolls their eyes? Why do you react to your child when they're talking back or they've got a sassy mouth? It's because you've got an imprint within your brainstem controlled by your amygdala. So when you hear those things, it turns your amygdala and activates it, sends you into a stress reaction, which then stirs up your brainstem, which stirs up those blueprints that come from your own childhood when your parents said, "Don't you talk to me that way, don't you roll your eyes at me like that." And so you have all these, and how many times, some of you can even go back to your grandparents, right? Probably saying something about a sassy mouth, about rolling their eyes. So it just goes back in the generations. So you've got all these imprints for this form of emotional expression being negative, being something that a child should not do. Hey, Jody, thank you for joining the Post-Love Evolution. I just seen that pop up. For all these things that your child shouldn't do. And so you have these reactions, and those reactions heighten your stress reaction. So they drive your fear. And then remember what I'm always telling you about what happens in times of stress. Our thinking gets confused and distorted. Our short-term memory gets suppressed. And so you could be a parent who's had some really big breakthroughs with your child, but they can start doing things like talking back and sassy mouth and rolling their eyes, and it just triggers you at this whole other level. And then even though you're having these breakthroughs because you're practicing this love-based parenting thing, you start to wonder, is it going to get out of control? Well, what does getting out of control tell you? You use those words, get out of control. That tells you that you're teetering on fear. You're teetering on worry and concern about an emotional expression getting out of control. And this is what leads us to suppress it. See, this is why children misbehave. Guess, surprise, children misbehave because we are afraid that their attitudes are going to get out of control. We're afraid that they're going to roll their eyeballs right out of their head and it's going to fall out onto the floor and it's going to be connected to those long, whatever those things are that keep the eyeballs pulled into their head. We're afraid that they're going to roll their eyeballs so much that they're just going to go boop and just pop out and maybe like attack us or something. So we're like, we don't want the eye rolling to get out of control. We're afraid that that's going to get out of control, and when they one too many times, it's gonna just cause some kind of spewing from their mouth that's going to get all over us, and it's going to eat into our bodies, and we're afraid that sassy mouth. I don't want it. We're so afraid that it's going to get out of control and it's going to just create this horrible energy of, I don't know, we're bad parents. I'm a bad parent energy, or maybe I'm a guilty parent energy. And so guess what we do? We suppress it. We say, stop doing that. Don't do that. You can't do that. Don't tell me your feelings. Don't express your feelings to me. So we suppress the attitudes. And then the feelings come out and we suppress the feelings. We say, don't give me your feelings. We suppress the feelings because we don't want the feelings to get out of control. Because lo and behold, I'm going to get a feeling shower and it's not going to feel good. We've got all these imprints that tell us that attitudes and feelings are horrible things. They're disrespectful. Someone expressing their attitude and their feeling is disrespectful. Someone expressing their attitudes and their feelings are, lo and behold, our child. Because how many times do we let each other as adults, we let ourselves express our attitudes and our feelings? And we don't ever worry about someone getting out of control because they're expressing their attitudes and their feelings. Because you know what? When you're encountering an adult who's expressing their attitudes and their feelings, and they just keep amping up, you eventually shut up. Like, you eventually will just shut up and stop saying anything. And guess what they do? They shut up too. It's like this magical little thing. When you dial down, the person who's been dialing up will dial down too. Isn't that fascinating? But when it's associated with our children, we have all these generational messages that say, oh my God, you're raising this horribly disrespectful child who's never going to be able to hold a job. They're going to get fired. They're going to go to school. They're going to get in trouble by teachers. Blah, 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 blah. All this fear because we're worried about attitudes and feelings getting out of control. So then what we do is we get scared and we start trying to suppress the attitudes and feelings again. Not that our postie from Scotland is doing this. I'm just saying in general, this is kind of how we operate. See, because we're so focused on something getting out of control, we don't realize that by actually encouraging the expression, when I can be in a loving place, when I can be in a place where I can be regulated and I can contain you. You're not going to get out of control when I am encouraging you to express your feelings to me. See, that's important. You're not going to get out of control when I am encouraging it. There is no out of control. In fact, I want you to lose your freaking mind. Lose your mind. Why lose your mind when you are upset? I want you to lose your freaking mind so you do one thing. Express your energy so you don't drop down to behaviors. Because when we suppress attitudes, when we suppress feelings, the only thing that's left are behaviors. That's where problem behaviors come from. That's why children have problem behaviors, because they've been suppressed. And so the last thing they can do is just express their behaviors. And when a child has not been able to effectively process through their behaviors, then what they end up doing is they drop into anger and depression. Because see, we spend a lot of time suppressing behaviors. So not only do we suppress attitudes, we suppress feelings, then we want to suppress behaviors. Children are only left with two options, anger and depression. Anger and depression must come out through behaviors. It must come out through behaviors. And I call that the trauma triangle. That's why you got to go back and watch the video, right? Go back and watch the video of the 3 pathways of emotional expression. I want you to understand, I've been teaching this concept a long time. Don't worry about your child getting out of control when it comes to expressing their attitudes and their feelings. Encourage more. Want more attitude, want more feelings. And then this is magic. When your child is expressing attitudes and when your child is expressing feelings, they're telling you they're stressed. So the reason you're encouraging it and the reason you're okay with it is because they're expressing their stress. They're expressing their overwhelm. And they're also expressing their gratitude that they don't have to feel so helpless and overwhelmed that they revert to behaviors. Because you're giving them an opportunity to express their attitudes and their feelings, which is what most parents don't allow them to do, or most adults haven't allowed them to do. So that's why they're conditioned. They're negatively conditioned to go to behaviors. So the more you allow them to express their attitudes and their feelings, the better off you're going to be. Don't worry about control. That's fear-based, right? Don't worry about losing control. Losing control, getting out of control, being in control. Control is all fear-based. As long as you are seeking to be in control, as long as you are seeking to dominate, as long as you are seeking to be the one in power, then you are operating from stress and fear. Relationship allows you the ability to influence your child. Influence is what you want to be able to do. You don't need to control your child. You need to be able to influence your child. If your child is going to head out the door, control is tackling them or screaming at them or yelling at them or going after them or threatening them that if they actually go out that door, something bad's going to happen. Influence, you don't have to actually get out of your seat. You just say, honey, I wish you'd stay here and we could talk this out, but I understand if you feel like you need to go out. But I'll still be here and I love you. And then that's influencing, and then that allows your child to internally have to navigate their own choices, their own stress, their own internal challenges. Stefan says, let's be honest, in modern day society, it's not common to just express feelings. It doesn't fit in the robotic model of the average worker. And yes, that imprint is what causes our fear. It absolutely is not okay. See, this is important. It is not okay to express your feelings in our society, but that's what we do. We do it anyway. Think about this. Anytime you are upset, and I'm talking about us as adults, it doesn't matter what the environment is. Anytime you are upset, there are 2 things that you do that keep you out of jail. You roll your eyes, you huff and you puff, you get angry, you maybe raise your voice. I'm saying 2. When I'm breaking down, I'm categorizing those into attitudes and feelings. You express your attitudes, you express your feelings. You tell the person, I'm upset right now. I don't like this situation and I'm leaving. Or you roll your eyes and you say, whatever. We do it anyway. It's what we do. It's what keeps us out of jail. Right? Because if we could not express our attitudes and our feelings, we would end up hurting someone. We would end up running away all the time. We'd end up beating people up. We'd end up being in shock and overwhelm all the time. So we actually do express our attitudes and our feelings, and we have this misconception that by allowing our children and encouraging our children to express their attitudes and our feelings, we're allowing them to be disrespectful, and it's complete opposite. It's wrong. It's just wrong. You've been sold a book of goods. Right? You've been drinking Kool-Aid from generations and generations ago. It's time to stop and start looking at things different. Trish says, hey, Trish from the UK, food for thought. We would validate a friend or loved one, but suppress our children, reflecting on a badly managed weekend. Absolutely. We do that for one another. If we got a friend who's upset, we're like, heck yeah. Heck yeah. We're either championing their cause or we're being supportive. But not when it comes to our children. And a lot of times when it comes to our children, we don't do that because we feel we take it personally. We take it personally. When we take it personally, we see them as a threat. That's a very important thing. When you see your child's expression, their attitudes and their feelings, when you see it as a threat and when you're taking it personally, it means you're seeing it as a threat. The only reason you see something as a threat is because you take it personally. And the only reason you take something personally is because you have an emotional attachment to it. Right? The only time we are emotionally reactive, it's because of unfinished business. That's the only time. You're not ever emotionally reactive over anything else other than unfinished business. So when you take your child's behavior, their attitudes, their feelings, when you take it personally, it means you're feeling threatened by them. It's because of unfinished business. So remember, guys, in any given situation, you got two choices. You can continue to react from what the generations have told you to do when it comes to your children, how to handle your children's feelings, how to handle your children's attitudes. You can continue to react and be stressed out and overwhelmed. Or you can stop, you can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. You can say, my child is scared right now. I'm not overwhelmed. I can contain my child. I can do this. We can be okay. Tell me your feelings. I want to hear them. I want to understand. I want to know. Roll your eyes. That doesn't have anything to do with me. As long as the trash is getting taken out. And if the trash doesn't get taken out, well, let's figure out another way to accomplish that. We can do that. And in that process, we're choosing love. So we can continue to react from fear, or we can choose love. And I want you all to be able to choose love. So thank you for joining me. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you are continuing to struggle, if you're showing up and you're watching Post Daily Dose every single day and you're continuing to struggle, you need to join the movement. I want everyone to join the movement. I want everyone to join the Lovolution, the new parenting Lovolution. The link is in the title. newparentinglovolution.com. Join the movement. It is a love-based parenting movement, and it is going to grow exponentially this year. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to all get together live and in person, and we're going to celebrate, and we're going to educate, and we're going to inspire, and we're going to motivate, and we're going to support, and it's going to be awesome. And you can join in right now. You can take advantage right now. And so, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful evening of rest. I hope when you lay down tonight, I hope that your cells of your bodies release the stress, release generations of stress, generations of fear, generations of worry. And you wake up in the morning and you feel restored, revised, reinvigorated, re-energized, and ready to make it a fantastic Monday. Of course, some of my international posties are already into Monday. God bless you. For me, I'm going to be up at 3:30 in the morning, Central Standard Time. I do 2 hours of work, usually 2 hours of reading or listening to some audio material, or usually writing. And then at 5:30, I meet my buddy of 40 years. We meet at the gym, and we're going to get our workout on. And that's what we do, and that's how I roll. And Big Papa loves you, and I will see you tomorrow.